So I'm thinking of, I didn't shut off the... Okay, so I'm thinking of doing this daily vlog thing about sharing things I know that I guess probably you guys do not know. Okay, some of you may know more than I do, way more than I do, but I'm just sharing some of it that greatly intrigues me when I was still a little boy, because I don't know why I'm just so interested in the car industry. And when people ask me, do you like racing? Do you watch races? Nope. Do you like car modification? Nope. Then what do you like about cars? Well, the things that I like about cars is the industry, the people behind it, the stories within it. You know, those actually excite me more than what's currently happening out there. And to be completely honest with you, I have very little interest in the likes of Pagani Zonda R, Pagani Zonda F. Wow, limited edition. Fuck you. He's still fucking alive there, so there's no limited edition. As long as the founder and the creator is still alive, it's not limited. Right? He can launch an R today, tomorrow he can launch an RF. The next day he can launch an FR, STTR, GT, DT, whatever. Okay? So those are just for, you know, the new rich supercar owners. But let us talk a little bit about why the Ferrari 250 GTO can sell for 30 million, 35 million, 40 million. Do you think a Pagani Zonda R can sell for that amount in the next 50 years to come? Not a chance. Porsche GT3 RS? Nope. GT2 RS? Nope. Koenigseggs? Nope. I like Koenigseggs, but this is a different topic altogether, alright? Now, why? Because there's no story. You know why art pieces can sell so much? You know? And why? Things that are worth a lot of money carries a lot of story with them. Where should I start? Where should I start? Now, I don't know whether you guys know or not, Ferrari started, technically speaking, as an employee of Alfa Romeo. Okay? So, he is greatly interested in racing. He races Alfa Romeos until he decided to start his own racing team with the blessing of Alfa Romeo. Okay? So, Scuderia Ferrari is earlier than Ferrari. Of course, a lot of Ferrari fans would know this, okay? And they were racing and they were successful, and because they need to race and hence they need money, hence they sell cars. That was sort of how racing began. Unlike what it is currently, you know, where they pretend to be racing so that they can sell cars. It's very, very different back then. Okay, racing is a big thing. It is an ego thing for all these legendary figures. Okay, there is a certain romanticism revolving this. Now, I may not sound right today because I don't think it's a good day to do my vlogs because I just had a major throat inflammation. But fuck it. Anyway, so the 250 GTO was a racing car that of course won a lot of races, alright, in the early 60s or mid 60s was that, yeah. Ferrari was in Le Mans back then, and they were 5-year back-to-back winners of Le Mans. 5 years! But that period of time is also a time where there is some turbulence going on within Ferrari. Why? Because of his wife's involvement in the company, Laura. Her name is Laura. And as we all know, I shouldn't go the sexist route, but then, you know, basically created a lot of trouble in the company, and a lot of key staffs were very, very unhappy. Famous engineers, you know, body workers, they are unhappy with it, and they gave an ultimatum to Ferrari that either you want us or your wife. But you know, men back then are not like men now. They love one wife and that's it, one woman, that's it. Unlike now, they have, like, you know, rich people. Anyway, so yeah, he was like, fuck you all, I love my wife. They all left. All of them left. They even brought some customers with them, and these are all very, very talented engineers and mechanics, and they left. And there was a sudden vacuum. Everybody thought Ferrari was done with, and that was also the time whereby they have some financial difficulties. And after they left, a rich guy like sort of financed the team, and even though Ferrari wanted to sell his cars, you know, you want to sell your cars so that you can afford to have your own racing car as well, but you want to sell it to other racing teams so that more racing teams use your cars. You get to amortize the costs better. So this team wanted to buy the Ferrari 250 GTO, and Ferrari is like, no, fuck you, you took my staffs in, and those are my ex-staffs. No, I'm not going to sell them to you even though I need the money. So that's roughly how it is back then, you know. So what they did was they had to take, I mean, one of the guy was the guy who was working on the 250 GTO, right, who left Ferrari. So they began work on a one-off for them to go racing, and that created the legendary Ferrari 250 braid van, as they call it, you know, like a short wheelbase version, and then they turned the back into like a microwave oven for aerodynamic purposes, and that car beat the 250 GTO. Alright, so that's one part of the story, and another part that culminates in this. Can you believe it? I mean, this resulted in the Ford GT40. You cannot believe that, right? Because there was a brief moment where Ferrari needed the money to continue racing, and he had this discussion with Ford. Ford was damn cash rich back then, right? They wanted an inroad into all these European thoroughbred. So they had this, I think this is more famous than the story that I just told, you know. And they almost went into bed together, and then at the end, Enzo Ferrari is like, fuck you Americans, fuck off. And Henry Ford II, he was so pissed. He got his team, which a very talented team. Oh fuck! Can I still talk? Which includes Carroll Shelby, blah, 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 and they created the GT40. His intention of creating this car is to beat Ferrari at Le Mans. Ferrari was winning Le Mans back to back for 5 years in a row. And that is legendary, okay? And this period of time, Porsche hasn't been known as a force to be reckoned with, to be honest. The Porsche car company. So they created the GT40, and then they went racing. The first debut race, the GT40 won first, second, third. In fact, they were so far ahead from the others that they can slow down and wait for each other for a picture perfect finish. 1, 2, 3, ta-da, you know. And of course Ferrari was humiliated. And what happened next was of course Ferrari was desperate. Okay, second year, Ford won again. Third, Ford again. Fourth, Ford again. 4 times in a row, Ford won Le Mans with the GT40, and Ferrari had to come back, had to have a big comeback. Okay, and given that they are a small team, They needed the money, and they don't have the money. And around this period of time, when Ferrari thought my crosshair was the Fords, right? The Ford GTs, right? Another big boy is coming his way, crashing the party. And this is led by a very, very talented automotive engineer from Germany. He's an Austrian, by the way. This guy is the famous guy who revived Audi, who was the chief engineer who led the project to fruition, the Quattro project to fruition. He is also the guy who persisted in the W16 engine. Yes, this guy is Ferdinand Piëch, or Piëch. And he was the guy who led to the fruition of the Porsche 917. Yes, the Piggy, the famous Piggy Porsche. And the guy who reports to him, who created the car under his supervision, I think this name you will be familiar, Hans Mezger. Haha! You guys have heard of Mezger engine, right? Yes, Hans Mezger, under the supervision of Ferdinand Piëch, created the Porsche 917. And this car is a monster. And when this came into the scene, Ferrari is like, fuck. And at the same time, FIA changed the regulations that you have to build a minimal 25 cars in order to qualify, because prototypes are one-offs and it's unfair. Just like the 250 Brit van is a fucking prototype, right? And it's so fast, but they don't sell the car. So to allow more people to join and all that, they have, you have to create cars that people actually buy to amortize it. So there's a minimum number of 25 units. It was 50, but they put it down to 25. And that means Ferrari, whatever they are building to challenge Porsche, they have to build 25 units. They don't have the money to do 25 units of the 512. So what do? Can you imagine people of that era, the kind of balls that they have? I just want to win that race. What do? How do you win that race? You need to build 25 units. You don't have the money. Fuck it, I'll sell half of my company. And that's what Ferrari did. He sold half of his company to Fiat to finance that 25 units of 512 to go race, not only to beat Ford, but also to beat Porsche 517, the 917. And what happened after that? It is the worst investment ever, the worst story ever for someone to sell their company by 50%, because that car couldn't beat the legendary 917. And since the 917, Porsche has been known as a force to be reckoned with, because nobody beats that car. The car comes out and it fucking just killed everybody. So that's the 917. So you look at it this way, right? Everyone is sort of related, right? From Ford, to Ferrari, Porsche, Ferdinand Piëch, Enzo Ferrari, Laura Ferrari, Bizzarini, and the engineer that was in charge of the 250 GTO, who left Ferrari, and the bodywork of the Brit van. So a lot of these names that you heard, they're very, very famous people. Mezger, Piëch. So that's why cars like the 250 GTO, cars like the Porsche 917, they are worth so much money compared to your Zonda, whatever, Agira, whatever. I mean, to me, the current hypercars makers, right? If you guys join racing, if you guys balls up to join racing, I know it's gonna drain your money like hell, and it might not be the most practical thing to do. But imagine this. Imagine next year, Le Mans, we have Team Koenigseggs, we have Team Pagani. And what's that stupid car from Dubai? What, Devil 16? Whatever, Apollo, what? these cars are rubbish. They are expensive because they sell for a high price. That's about it. And they don't make sense. There's no collection value to it. And I personally admire and respect Koenigseggs a lot. But of course, we are on two different topics. And there are a lot of interesting stories in the automotive industry. I'll try to tell more when I could. Alright, sorry for the long video. I have no topic. I just decided to roll the camera. And I got no voice. Alright, cheers.